All right, finally getting around to some Patriots content. It's been a while since I've done this. Obviously been prioritizing work and family. So this has taken a little bit of a back seat, but that being said, been preparing for the college football season. Plans to go see some games, do that side of the work coming up soon, but I'm definitely behind on getting some guys to keep it, draft targets for the Patriots, coming up with the big board. The stuff's there, just simply getting the content out so you guys can see it has really been the major hurdle. But I came up with the idea, which is what are the guys I'm really looking at that are going to be big needle movers that the Patriots could be interested in, guys that are essentially day one or day two picks. So I've been compiling a list, thinking about what the Patriots need. It's probably better to do this now after they've done all the cut down anyway. Come down with a definitive top 10 tags. And what I mean by tags, I guess they're targets, but it's the tags I'm saying, this is a guy that I want. Not hey, take a look at this guy. This is top talent dudes that are my guys type of thing, right? And this is the thing. These guys blend of scheme fit, positional value, long-term upside, athleticism. These are things that New England could potentially, see as cornerstone players, right? Cornerstone options on both sides of the ball. So by the end, I'll really identify 10 names, but I'm going to go through a lot more than that. But it's the whole idea is maybe we could start talking about draft strategy and what we know going into the season. Both in terms of the Patriots and the college football. Now, of course, for the next few months at least, I always have to put this disclaimer in. Some of the names I'm going to mention, guys I'm going to point out, are going to make the decision to go back because they can, hit the transfer portal, boost their NIL deals, etc. They're not being told they're first-round draft picks. They're probably a third, simply coming back in next year, instantly moved up at least a round, maybe even to the first round. And guys this year could have came out last year. They're in the first round. So it's becoming a stronger trend. So keep that in mind as well as all these guys I'm going to highlight. Not all of them are actually going to commit to being in the draft. Anyway. So going through, I guess, the depth chart, some of the cuts, the way the roster came together, guys on the practice squad, considering 2026 free agents, so guys that are going to be free agents this off season and the season after that. I realized the depth kind of a concern for safety actually now. Unless Duggar sticks around for another year, Pettis develops into a solid guy. And then you can say that Woodson and Hodgkins are really legitimate starters for you. If that happens, maybe that moves us down a couple pegs in terms of needs for depth. But right now, I think impact safety is pretty high on the list for me. Next, tight end. Hooper's up. We don't really have technically a tight end 3 for development. You got Westover, Dupree's sitting around, but not really a definitive next man after Hooper. And again, Hooper being a free agent next year, Hunter Henry getting up there, a tight end's probably pretty high on my list. Next, linebacker. They have some bodies. In fact, they had kind of way too many bodies, but it's been obvious that they're trying to figure out another guy in there. If they can find somebody in the first, 3 rounds of this draft that could definitely fit their scheme and I think that might be in play. Sneaky one, corner. They have decent amount of corners right now. Guys that I feel confident. It's actually I feel very confident about their corner room, even compared to years past, the last few years at least. But this year and next year, you have a lot of guys up for contract. You got Marcus Jones. Who knows what's going on with that? Alex Austin will be up for another contract. We'll see what happens. Maybe a corner. And again, the first day or two of the draft might be an option. And of course, offensive line. I'm a lot more confident than I was last year. I'm still wondering if this is what they want. So that could be high up on the list as well. And of course, wide receiver needs to be mentioned. I like, again, just like the offensive line, I'm feeling a lot better than I was last year. I think it's a solid room. It was tough. They obviously had some tough decisions to make. But if you're sitting there and there's a guy for some reason falls down to you in the draft and you're sitting there, it's like, yeah, you should probably consider that. Because who knows how long Diggs has got. We don't know how long Hollins is going to hold up. You have both Douglas and Booty up for a contract in year 2, so there's questions there. And of course, you're always just looking out for top end wide receiver talent. Anyway, so that's kind of my rundown. If I have to, the one that keeps popping up probably the most for me is going to be probably that safety, tight end, linebacker, and then offensive line. Those are the ones where priority lists written down, but those positions, if you're looking at somebody that you know is going to be impact, you just better go get them. And then, we already have this guy, we already have this type of guy, we already have this guy. You got to upgrade this position. You have guys up for contract soon. You'll find the space with the contracts, and then you need the upgrades. So anyway, let's get into it. So obviously the first one has to be Caleb Downs. I'm sure a lot of you guys who do follow the draft are well aware of him. And those even the Patriots fans have probably heard several guys mention him. He's from Ohio State, transferred from Alabama. He's an unanimous All-American. Big defense. He was a Big Ten Defensive Back of the Year. He was an SEC he was an SEC Freshman of the Year for when he was at Alabama. Was a national champion last year. I would say Downs is widely regarded as one of the most complete safety prospects in recent memory. Athleticism, IQ, versatility, viciousness, has great instincts, covers slot receivers, tight ends. He's got fluid hips. You can tell there's anticipation. And a big thing, very physical tackler. So he excels in the box and on special teams. He can play free safety. But I would say that there's a minor deep coverage lapse that shows up here and there. So I would put him more towards a guy that'd be like, hey, if you lose Duggar, you got rid of Peppers, maybe if you're looking for that, strong safety attitude, but a guy who can at least do coverage, which both those guys tend to struggle with. If you're looking for a guy who plays like them, but carries that coverage upside, Caleb Downs is your dude. So I would say potentially be a cornerstone defender, and if he's there, I have to imagine it's hard for the Patriots to pass him up, especially considering Vrabel's connections with Ohio State. But my next dude, Dillon Thieneman, dynamic free safety from Oregon, played at Purdue for his first 2 years. He's 6 foot, around 207, but those first 2 years at Purdue, he produced 210 tackles, 6 interceptions, 14 pass breakups, 6.5 tackles for loss, a sack, 2 forced fumbles, and only 24 starts. Third team All-America. Big Ten Freshman of the Year, Defensive Freshman of the Year honors. But what's nice is that he is what I think that a lot of Patriots fans and this system might be looking for, is having that guy who can be that primary single high free safety. Now, he did that right out of the box as a freshman, but he expanded that role to more some box and slot responsibilities last year. So we're seeing some range, some versatility. He's quick processing, good strong pursuit angles, and again, this is a guy who excels in coverage, pattern recognition, quarterback manipulation, great tackling technique, great with angles, low pad strikes. All those things continue to improve at the free safety level. Those nickel and slot alignments, we've been looking for some guy to take care of tight ends. Here you go. Can handle his bigger slot receivers too, and can even cover those elite jitterbug type slot receivers. He's got decent footwork. His short area transitions are beyond refined. So clean hip mechanics, efficient acceleration. His recovery economy is perfect. Stays square when re-engaging in plays. You can tell he's a natural communicator out there. He's directing guys in the secondary. So we'll see how it works out for Oregon this year. I mean, we're looking for that field general high safety for the Patriots. This is the guy. At Oregon, we'll see if they're doing, single high or split safety quarters. We'll see what they do there. See if he's in there on some big nickel duties as well, even against heavy sets. But overall, combination of range, IQ, speed, versatility. This is essentially my guy if Caleb Downs is not there. Next, Anthony Hill, linebacker, Texas. 6'2", 230, 240. Vicious. Versatility, IQ, physicality, everything you want. 5-star recruit. But he's for sure the leader of that Longhorns defense. Actually, last year he led the Longhorns with 113 tackles, 16.5 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and 1 interception. That's building upon his freshman year when he had 66 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 2 pass breakups, and multiple QB pressures. So for all those guys who are, go get Jalon Walker, makes Jalon Walker look like a special teamer, in my opinion. Now, I shouldn't be saying that because that kind of sounds like I'm picking on anybody who did like him. The reality is that Anthony Hill is one of your probably more comprehensive linebackers, at least, 2 or 3 years since I've seen a linebacker that I like that I would really consider in the first round. Elite instincts, pre-snap recognition, definitely diagnosis quick, both against the run, the pass, amazing tackling strength, wraps people up, goes through the hips. Always looking for that the sideline guy. He can do it. And again, natural blitzer. He can time that perfectly. Generates pressure without sacrificing containment. And again, versatility. You got this guy who can do Mike and Will. Does some hybrid linebacker roles. Everything you want out of a modern linebacker. Now, another linebacker that looks solid. Very similar. Sonny Styles, linebacker from Ohio State, 6'4", 240-ish. Now, was a former safety, but now is more of a dynamic linebacker, 5-star recruit, ultra-rare size, speed, explosiveness. You're looking at a guy that at 240-something pounds is going to run sub 4.5. Nearly 40-inch vert, 11-foot broad, squats like 600 pounds. 16 games last year, 100 tackles, 10.5 tackles for loss, 6 sacks. Production's through the roof, 24 tackles in the postseason, with 4 of them being tackles for loss and 2 sacks. So there you go. Great in coverage, being a former safety. Obviously can blitz, solid against the run. Has great sideline-to-sideline instincts because of his safety background. Ultra-violent tackling, relentless pursuit. Can play some special teams. I don't know if he's a first-round guy, but if the Patriots go with a safety or offensive lineman in the first, he'd be probably my top guy in the second. All right, moving on to tight end. I got 2 guys that one I really like, and the other one I've been watching. I would say I do like him, but I'm waiting for that next step. First one, Eli Stowers. I wish he came out last year. Maybe the Patriots pick him up on day 2, 6'4", mid-230s. I think this is his 6th year, but we're looking at one of those hybrid jokers. He can play some tight end, he can play some H-back, split out wide. So a versatile offensive weapon. Dual threat quarterback, but converted to tight end. So sounds something like the Patriots would be in on. Good athlete too, at 236 pounds, looking right around like a mid 4.5s on his 40. He was a 7-foot high jumper at one point, so he's got elite body control. Now in 2024, production was solid. 49 receptions, 638 yards, 5 TDs. So some of the best numbers for a receiving tight end in their school history at Vanderbilt, which gave him all SEC first team for that. So he's a good athlete. He's got the production. But when you watch the tape is when you really see why I like him. Excels after the catch. You can tell he has vision. He's got decent agility, natural route running instincts after being a quarterback. thrives in multiple alignments. You got him in the slot. You can get in the H-back. Again, detached from line, moving around, making him a matchup nightmare. Does well in a variety of coverage. Good in red zone. He's got decent hands. And he's an okay blocker. I wouldn't put him as an inline guy, but out in space, solid. So I would say he's more of an H-back / big slot receiver joker. So I think McDaniels can easily find something for him to do. Now the next guy, Max Klare. Transferred from Purdue to Ohio State. Saw him this past weekend. He did have an interesting drop there. But, I've also got plenty of clips of him catching some pretty tough balls before too. So we'll see what happens this year at Ohio State. I mean, at Purdue, he was kind of like the guy. Maybe this year would be more of a safety blanket. But I hope I get to see some versatility from him, maybe improve blocking. He's 6'4", 6'5", in the mid-240s, but a hell of an athlete. Not ultra fast. I'd probably expect him to run in like the 4.7s. So solid speed for the position, but nothing amazing. But you're looking at a guy that gets success at short, intermediate, and deep threats. So whatever it is that he does, route running, winning at contested catches, the guy produces. And just like Stowers, you can move him around the formation. Got plenty of versatility there. He's got good red zone target. If he shows some improvements in inline blocking, functional strength, I can easily see him being a day 2 guy. All right, now to talk about one of the more interesting prospects in the draft, Kayden Proctor. Now, he is a left tackle, absolutely mammoth. 6'7". It's hard to tell what he really weighs. They sometimes put him at 360, a little bit heavier, a little bit lighter, which is one of the things he's had some issues with, maintaining his weight. But he is certainly one of the most physically imposing prospects in this draft cycle. 5-star recruit, was originally going to Iowa, then went to Bama, then was going to go back to Iowa, now he's back at Bama. So there's another issue there with, commitment and flip-flopping around. I'm sure those will be things that people talk about in the draft cycle, which is the weight thing, some injuries, flip-flopping around. So he's gonna be that guy who's like, oh, is he a top 5 guy or is he falling down the boards? We'll see. But at Alabama, right out of the box, All-American, SEC, all the accolades you want. But what's nice about him is that he isn't just a lumbering monolith of a person. Like, he's pretty athletic for being 6'7", 360, and very physically dominant in the run game. Uses quick hands, excellent leverage, strong anchor, obviously, in terms of pass pro. So he's a mauler. Here's the thing. He's a left tackle for Alabama. Probably would be an amazing right tackle in some systems. But what's interesting is that I think he could be actually even better as a left guard. Now, he probably doesn't want to be drafted for a left guard. Maybe he is a right tackle for development or something like that. But for the Patriots, you draft him, you have 3 spots you can put him in. If Will Campbell's not working out left tackle for a year or so, maybe you have, in 2 years, Proctor takes over. In the meantime, he's playing some left guard. Maybe he's, going to be the right tackle of your future when Morgan Moses is done. It's probably not what everybody wants to hear when you want to use for a first-round talent. I mean, he'll definitely be starting, but not having, everybody wants to have like this set, like, oh, just stick him in place, move him around, and all that's bad for him. These guys are some of the most elite athletes in the world. They can handle being moved around, and I actually think that Proctor might be better off as a guard, because modern day NFL, your tackles need to move. And if this guy's going to have issues with weight fluctuation, you can't have him at like 370, 380 all of a sudden on the left. Maybe you can get him around with that on the right, but if you got some guy that, fluctuates 20, 30 pounds of weight within the year and it's hard for him to stabilize that, you might want to stick him in with guard. And having him and Will Campbell on the left side would be, that's a mauler duo. I would just say left tackle would be more of a growth area for him rather than just being surefire. 100% first-round talent, but maybe not left tackle. However, a guy that I'd love at right tackle, and I would know if he makes it to the Patriots, it'd be hard to pass up, which is Francis Mauigoa, or Sisi, S-I-S-I, Mauigoa. 6'6", 335. freakish athlete. Probably one of the freakish of freakish athletes in a long time at the tackle position. 100% NFL ready in my opinion. He's a little tall sometimes, but as a right tackle, he fits the profile. Powerful upper and lower body. Plenty of agility. Can pull in space. Good football IQ. Easily recognizes twist blitzes and combos quickly. Solid in both pass pro and run blocking. And another guy that, third year was a true freshman, only gave up 2 sacks. And that's 500 plus pass snaps. Guy's young, but he's actually experienced, but still needs to work on some hand placement. Pad level isn't great. But the thing is, even if he struggles a little bit this year, once you get into the draft cycle, he's going to be one of the names, because once he gets to the combine, this guy's going to, put on a show there. This is a guy who puts out over 10,000 watts. You're looking at mid-30s for his vertical at 330 pounds. He might be seen as the offensive tackle 1 going into the draft. I would think he's going to need at least a year of development to be 100% ready to go. So him being a year behind Morgan Moses would actually make sense. Or if Morgan Moses is just done, at least you have a top quality prospect coming in that can handle, at least be thrown in there and develop under fire. All right, so the next is the one guy that, as a wide receiver, that I'm 100% in on for the Patriots in day 1 or day 2. Now, he'd be definitely day 1. It looks like he's probably going to be the top wide receiver in this draft. I remember watching him in the college football playoff. I watched him this weekend. The guy's got skills, and if you listen to him, he's got the IQ, seems pretty humble. Everything you think the Patriots would want from wide receiver, so I'm not counting him out. It's Jordyn Tyson, Arizona State. 6'2", a little bit over 200 pounds, very technically polished, decent athlete. He's versatile. Top tier route running ability. He's kind of like, he's Luther Burden, but without, that can cost you a game with, personal foul penalties, or, cause the coach to blow up on him and kick him out of practice. Jordyn Tyson, probably not going to be doing that. And he's got production. There's plenty of tape. If you watch it, separation, not a problem. Very sharp, very sudden cuts, advanced route precision. So NFL level timing, not going to be an issue. Understanding leverage, not going to be an issue. His hands, beyond reliable. Tracking ability is amazing. Over the shoulder stuff, awesome. Red zone, some of the great highlight catches for that. Has no problem going over the middle, which is nice to see from a top wideout. And the best thing, he's an alpha 1. He can X, he can Z, you can put him in the slot. So versatility, he's your guy. He's your top receiver. If Diggs doesn't work out, things aren't looking great, you might want to slide Jordyn Tyson to the top of the list this year for you. All right, so moving into guards. And I think, I would guess it's a Kayden, Proctor, and Mauigoa are, for the Patriots, are high up on my list. But this is probably my favorite offensive lineman in the draft. It's Tiernan, who is the left tackle for Northwestern. But looking at his length and the way he moves, he should be guard at the NFL level. Even though he's 6'7", 325 pounds, I would move him in a guard. He's technically sound, extremely high floor, mauler as a run blocker, amazing anchor strength. At the end of last year, he logged nearly 2,000 career snaps. I haven't watched a lot of Northwestern, but I haven't seen anybody even get close to their quarterback. And he's going to excel in power-based blocking. He's got solid pass pro technique, great athleticism, good quickness. It's just that I wouldn't want to put him out constantly against high-speed, twitchy edge, rushers at the NFL level. So I'd bump him instantly into left guard, set it and forget it. Could you use him? Played some right tackle. Obviously, he's playing some left tackle. So he would at least be depth at those 2 positions, and maybe it becomes your right tackle. But he's big, physical. He's got an attitude. What's interesting, if you ask me who he really reminds me of, is actually Taylor Lewan. So put Tiernan as if you want me to pin like my guy for this draft, it'd probably be Tiernan at some point. We'll see. Now, other guard prospects that I'm going to point out, One's going to be Drew Shelton, who again is a left tackle from Penn State. But just like other guys at Penn State that we've been talking about, Caden Wallace has played some guard and has even played some center. So keep an eye on him. Plenty of versatility. Now, the one that's kind of I hope he keeps developing, which is I'm kind of getting, I don't want to say suspicious, but I'm starting to have some concerns about his ability to keep developing, is Emmanuel Pregnon, 6'5", 6'6", 330, 340, guard from Oregon. Transferred from Wyoming, then he went to USC, now he's at Oregon this year. Absolute powerhouse. Elite power, anchor strength. You're not moving him. Now, the problem is he's having some problems moving himself. He doesn't, he's going to be a gap guy, power scheme guy, easily displacing defenders in the run game, sturdy pass protection anchor. But the limitations in agility and hip stiffness, balance issues, has plenty of flags against him. Maybe if he's still there in the third and you haven't picked up a guard and you just want to get a guy that maybe you can work with, but you know that he's not weak. You know he can move bodies. It's just, does he really fit the scheme? And are you willing to bring a guy in that might end up just being a short yardage physical run guy, and you hope that you can develop him over the next couple years? There's some other guards I'm keeping an eye on, but got to do some more research on them. But at the moment, it's basically tackle conversions with Tiernan being the top. All right, so next, Reuben Bain Jr. Now, he's interesting. Defensive end, 6'3", 275, incredibly disruptive force. Looked great against Notre Dame, consistently creating pressure on the quarterback. Again, just the guy that can generate plenty of chaos in opposing backfields. If I was to describe him, he's essentially a better Nick Scorton. Now, another guy that I've been interested in for a couple years now is Gabe. So technically linebacker, but, stand-up, edge rusher. At 6'3", 270, though. Already off to a strong start. This guy is extremely athletic. He's freakish, big, fast, powerful, flexible, has flexibility. Some decent moves, but needs refinement. So he's obviously a very valuable asset for the Illini defense and would be a solid look if Keon White is really not developing. I think he would have to be a second rounder, maybe get away with him in the third. I doubt it, though. Another good edge rusher here, Anto Saka. He's more of your Chazon backup if he doesn't work out. Super fast, athletic, good dynamic. Just first step quickness is amazing. He's 6'4", 255, just a burner. Obviously, we'll need some refinement, but a guy that you can probably get in, again, day 2, second, third round. Next, another guy that I've been keeping an eye on for a few years now, David Bailey. I like him if you're looking for more of a Landry replacement, because he can play some linebacker. He's solid against the run, but he's also a burner. He's very dynamic, bends the edge. Originally from Stanford, transferred to Texas Tech. We'll see how he does this year, but he's going to test well. He's going to be one of those guys that's, quote, rising up the boards as he gets through the pre-draft process. Now, switching over to corners, I'm going to mention a guy you can argue as a corner, as a safety, Jalon Kilgore. So, from South Carolina, 6'1", 211. I would put him more in the safety category, but I'm mentioning him as a corner because he really does excel in the slot, in my opinion, against big dudes. And I think he'd excel there. He obviously can play out wide, too. Last year, led the SEC with 5 interceptions, 48 total tackles, 3 for loss. Just looking at a very versatile back-end contributor that you might be able to get on day 2. Good ball hawk instincts, physical presence. He hits hard. Looking for one of those bigger slot corners. I also have to mention Tacairo Davis. Big, tall, 6'4", 200-pound corner. Played for Arizona last year, now is at Washington. He led the Pac-12 with 15 pass breakups and 16 passes defended. He shut down Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, I'm not getting any balls. I'm getting shut down. Kind of just my shoulder's hurting. I got to get out of here. So, if Carlton Davis isn't really working out, if he's getting injured, you need a backup, you might be able to get Tacairo Davis on day 2. After that, going to running backs. Now, you're probably do we need another running back? Well, we might. See how this year goes. And if you're looking for a premier guy that's still super athletic, explosive, I'm going with Nick Singleton. Penn State, 6 foot, 225 pounds. Been a contributor since day one. Has gone over 1,000 yards first 2 seasons. And then the other thing is, the guy can catch the ball. So last year, he also had 375 yards receiving with 5 receiving touchdowns. Also, special teams dude as a kick returner. So rare third down back guy. If you are going to be going with Henderson, you want to get some guy that can also do it as well. Say like Gibson's done, or maybe if Ramondre just keeps fumbling the ball. This is a guy that you might have to commit in the second round. He might even be a first rounder by the end of the year. Plenty of other running backs, but I'd have to sit and watch them a lot more. But there's one I do want to point out. He will probably not be a day 1 or day 2 pick, but I need to point him out because I like him. He's my favorite running back right now. Kayden from Illinois, 6'3", 250. He will not be your feature back. But if you're looking for a big back / fullback, here you go. He did do some H-back responsibilities early on. He's now being more of a feature back for the Illini, but at the NFL level, he's going to be your big bruiser. Probably going to be great on special teams. I'll probably do a deep dive on him in the coming weeks. All right, switching to defensive tackles. I only have a few here that I want to point out that could be, well, one's going to be day 1 for sure, but another 2 to keep on day 2, possibly even day 3. Again, defensive tackles are kind of all over the place this year, and I think who I'll focus on kind of will be more about what the Patriots are looking like with their needs of defensive tackle, because they're bringing a bunch of them in. I got to see which ones actually excel in this new system. But the first one I want to talk about, Peter Woods, probably a top 3 non-quarterback. He's one, or yeah, let's just say top 5. Defensive tackle, edge, nose tackle, 3 tech, 5, whatever you want to say. This guy literally goes 0 to 9. It's crazy. Elite twitch, power, full throttle every snap. Collapses pockets, good against the run and the pass. Technically polished, good football IQ. He's 6'3", 310, absolute game wrecker. Potential Pro Bowl right out of the box. I know that's a lot to say, but the fact that the guy can really move just about everywhere, and he does look like an NFL defender going against college guys. It's that good. And the best part is this is his 3rd year, true junior. So we'll see what happens. Now the next 2 I want to point out are a little more niche. First one being Dominique Orange. His nickname, Big Citrus. 6'4", 325. Has a very unique blend of size and movement. Good as a nose tackle, but can be moved around as needed. But disruptive interior presence with high upside. On the smaller side, we have Zane Durant, who's again a very interesting, more niche defensive tackle, being 6'1", 290, but fast. Going to probably run the 4.6s. Super twitched up. It's like, you're basically taking a nose tackle and blending him with a middle linebacker. The way the guy plays, like he just getting right up the middle, burrowing through guys. Tasmanian Devil, just ripping through guys. Just violent is an understatement. He's got the speed, leverage, ultra disruptive interior player. I'm going to hold off on quarterbacks right now. Now, would I put that high on the list at all? No, not really. Not even for a backup at this moment. But, you get into late day 3 and there's somebody sitting there. Yeah, we'll put on the list. But certainly not going to be one of my top 10 tags. But if I'm forced to put in my top 10 guys, and not really any particular order, but I'll try. I wouldn't put this as in stone order of what I'm looking at, but it's obviously Caleb Downs, followed by Anthony Hill, then CC Mauigoa, then probably Caden Proctor, then Dillon Thieneman, then Jordyn Tyson. Then I would go probably Peter Woods for 7, Caleb Tiernan 8, Sonny Styles for 9, and then Gabe Jacas maybe for 10, or Jalon Kilgore. So there you go. There's 10 / probably really 11 or 12 guys that I'm going to tag up that I have high conviction in that would be top 100 picks in the 2026 draft. Again, we're not really sure if all these guys are going to come out. Not really sure how the Patriots are going to handle free agency, which is obviously a big determinant of what they're actually going to do in the draft. So a lot of things, a lot of steps involved here. All that needs to be considered. But guys you can definitely watch over the course of the college football season. Be like, hey, I remember Pat Stats saying something about that. I'll keep an eye on them. Anyway, is there any guys I missed? Who are you looking at? Do you like any of the guys I pointed out? Let me know in the comment section below. If you guys like this content, please like and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching.